Let's get that set up. I need to get those links out.
Stream Elements says, Old Mage Guy is now live. Streaming just chatting. We have psychology backwards, prove me wrong.
Alright, thank you, Stream Elements. Just so everybody is well aware, before we get too far into this, I am nervous as shit about this. I have not actually brought this out into the public yet, to the extent I am on this stream. So please bear with me. I will have issues at times. I have an expressive disability, as well as anxiety issues. But I know fair well what I'm talking about. And we have psychology backwards. During this stream, I aim to put forth not only a new set of rules for psychology, but also point out why the psychology we have right now is backwards. And I am confident enough in what I'm saying and my research as an independent researcher to take on a challenge like this. Am I nervous? Oh, fuck yeah. I'm a nobody. As far as anyone in the psychology field is concerned, I'm a nobody. I don't have a doctorate. I don't have formal education in this. I have experience. Hours upon days upon months watching, listening, and learning. And I've come to the conclusion that what we consider to be neurodivergent or autism is not neurodivergence at all, but the normal human state. As to where what we call neurotypicality is actually traits of the pathology of narcissism. And there is so much fucking proof to show this that I can do this. I can comfortably sit here on a live stream for everyone to see and critique. We've been looking at psychology backwards for, well, since we started doing psychology. I don't know if the neurotypical set that we have came from a group of people that had a narcissistic bias when writing it. I wasn't there. I could not possibly judge these people without enough information to make a call, which I certainly do not have. But what is the neurotypicality does have a major narcissistic lean. It can be seen in many places, such as corporations and businesses. I don't want to touch on the political relations at the moment. I no. There is a lot of stuff going on politically that legs up to this. It's not one side or the other, it's in general. And this is definitely not a good thing. The current system we have rewards narcissistic behaviors, but full-fledged narcissism is still frowned upon, yet is lifted or boosted to higher places in our society. I mean, for the business aspect only, a prime example is Donald Trump. Just for the business aspect. Another prime example would be Elon Musk or even Apple CEO, whatever the hell his name is. These CEOs usually have more narcissistic traits and have less caring about each other or other people or people that are working under them. These are the people that get lifted up to that standard. And on the flip side, there is so much judgment and pressure to conform via from boomers and Gen Xers who carry on the back in our day that diagnosis didn't exist. You were taken out back, you had it beaten out of you. That is a common sentiment. I would personally say neurotypicality is nothing but narcissism masking. Whereas the neurodivergent was the original base. But so much harm was done. To fit in, they mask. And not just they, but how many of us don't actually show how much we actually feel about a scenario or hide it? So that way we're not looked at as different or odd or creating that uncanny valley feeling. That uncanny valley feeling that neurotypicals say that neurodivergent people do when their masking doesn't quite sync up. And you see neurotypicals turning on each other in that light. Because somebody doesn't toe the line or is a little bit different or has a different thought, wants to question the instruction. And all of that has created needs for safe spaces. Much like created here on Twitch or on YouTube. Some really great streamers that create safe spaces, FlowCT, Pinky Chow, several others, including myself. If safe spaces were not needed, this would not be a thing. Therapists and wouldn't be a thing in the same light they are now. We've got things backwards and been doing damage for a little while. We need to fix it. Honestly, I feel like I'm probably shouting into the void here, but you know, I can only sit here and put it all together and reach out. That's all I have access to do. I've already got a pre-submission request into American Psychology or American Psychologist Journal to submit this theory via the proper channels of peer review. But so many have, I've been teasing about this, I should say, for a bit, and I've made several people curious. Because I've explained just the basics of it, and they're going, okay, I could see why that would actually make sense. As far as the restructuring of psychology, I think it should be structured on 3 pillars: openness, directness, and authenticity. Therefore, rewarding these things and quite literally rewarding what would or should be considered the normal. Being yourself, being genuine to how you feel, being direct with somebody. Think this kind of society, think Canadians and the Brits, how genuinely polite the Canadians are, or how the Brits will sit there and discuss politics over a pint, get in a fuss and heated debate and call politicians plunkers and whatnot, and still, by the end of those brews, walk out as friends still, even though they're with radically different views. Not because it's coming from a place of anger or hate, but because it's coming from a place of being real and straightforward. It's one of those, imagine bumping into somebody and actually apologizing because you feel bad about it, not because it's, oh, the way you're supposed to be. These past, how many ever years of psychology, the way it's been, has been doing great harm to our society. And this is so clear to me that I'm wondering why I'm the one saying this. And I don't mean that as a disrespect to anybody else, because apparently I'm a bit more intelligent than I thought. But I'm tired of standing aside and watching society destroy itself because of things as simple as having psychology backwards, because we haven't taken a step back from the original basis to go, hey, is this legit? It's common to hide your shit. If it's common to hide how you feel, why is that a normal? Why would that be a positive? For everything we know about ourselves scientifically, conformity is not something that should be a positive. It shouldn't be seen that way. It's a sign of narcissistic abuse. So, I don't know what to tell everybody on that one. All I can say is that it's backwards. No, I didn't need that open still, damn it. Well, that's all I can do is say what is respectfully say that we've got it backwards. Damn, I forgot. Okay, I'm just going to throw. I just pulled bonehead. Oh well. I'm not perfect. And that's another thing. Things like self-deprecating humor to help keep yourself grounded. That should be a positive. I mean, of course, there's going to be an extent that it's too much, but self-deprecating humor keeps it real. It's genuine. It's authentic. It shouldn't be seen as a pathology. And I don't know how to express that enough. But quite literally, we have it backwards. What is currently considered neurodivergent should be considered neurotypicality. The science and the research all back it all up. I just find it weird that me, a individual researcher, without any formal training, is the one able to step back and see this. It kind of goes to show just how deep ingrained it is. Yeah. But again, just shouting into the void. Not a big surprise. I guess I better figure something out to do in the meantime. But what? I'm a little busy. I'm not looking to do more research right now. Looking for something to relax while I wait. If that's the case in point, maybe Minecraft would be a better option. Oh boy. Fun. Excuse me. So, for those of you who are actually in the psychology field and know what this will actually mean, I am AU ADHD. And whether I like to admit it or not, pretty fucking smart. Please, no Sheldon Cooper jokes. Can't stand that asshole. Underneath chat. Oh, I've got a few things underneath chat. I gotta clean up my desktop again. With being AU ADHD, I have very high pattern recognition skills. And I'm gonna say this now. I do not like going over this. It sounds like bragging to me and it drives me insane. So I'm only gonna do this once. My understanding of complex systems is, well, I can't say is. Almost all of it is pretty well intuitive to me. I may not know how to fix your car, but I can certainly figure out what's going on with your relationship. And that's another thing. With the new proposed psychology and new typical norm, or yeah, typical, neurotypical norm, relationships would be more about communication and being direct with each other and build better society, not literally hindering it like our current psychology platform does. I wish I was being hyperbolic, or what's the other word? Excitable? No, no, no. Meaning to excite or not exciter. Right, right. Like I said, I have an expressive disability. I'm sorry. Insight, not excite. But our current society, our psychological neurotypical that we have now, quite literally retards everyone. Not kind of, not sort of, but literally hinders and holds everyone back by not allowing them to be themselves and express their unique quirks, personalities, their strong points, as well as being able to admit their weaker points out loud without being judged for it, which is exactly what today's society does with our current psychology typical norm, neurotypical norm. And the proof is everywhere. You can see it on Twitch, YouTube, X, TikTok, government, state government, even group dynamics, basic group psychology. Where even neurotypicals are sitting there beating each other down in the same way they do neurodivergent people. Just because they have a thought or theory that is aside from the status quo. That limits our ability to learn, our ability to adapt, our ability to fix things in our society. We are hindering ourselves as a species by using the current psychology standard we are. We are retarding ourselves with the psychology basis we have right now. This doesn't change that you're going to have mental illness. As a matter of fact, it would show that there's a lot more than we originally thought. Because what do you expect when the neurotypical is creating narcissism through abuse and belittlement, outcasting, and scapegoating? So, yes, I full on propose we have psychology backwards. And that what we are calling neurotypicality is masking. And it's a
Restreambot
narcissistic
says,
mask.
YouTube, Godfather Kebab, hi.
Hello, welcome. So, I'm probably going to be going over that several more times, and maybe at some extent actually explaining it to someone fully. It would actually be nice to be able to get this out there and have something working on fixing this. Because, yeah, we've got psychology backwards. The examples are stark. The evidence is everywhere. So, with the amount of evidence that's out there, I'm here, ready for open criticism in the most brutal environment possible for this to be being put out. And if the reactions come across as I expect some of them will from viewers passing by, I'll more than likely have several examples that I'll be pointing to in chat. I'm no lightweight when it comes to psychology, and honestly should probably be looking at joining the BAU. But that aside, we should fix psychology. Because that's the thing, the proposed change doesn't completely throw psychology as we know it to the curb. It merely fixes our foul up of the past, where we mistaken narcissistic tendencies of trying to fit in as something you had to do as a normal, trying to hide who you actually are or how you actually feel inside as a normal. So I'm sorry, I've not met one neurotypical or neurodivergent person that doesn't want to let that emotion out. We as creatures are very expressive. Hence why there's such thing as an expressive disability. Hi-yo! Our communication is how we work together. It's how we understand each other. If we're not authentic, direct, and open about our communication or our lives, we're hurting each other in many ways. Including creating trust issues. I mean, holy shit. Sorry. I know, I should stay a little bit more professional. I'm not a professional, though. Unless you want to call me a professional thinker, then okay, fine. Otherwise, I'm not. I live my life based on logic first, emotion second. As to where the neurotypicality runs more towards emotion first, logic second. Yes, I am neurodivergent. And I'm not scared to fucking say it. I've finally gotten to the point in my life that I don't care what anybody thinks of me. Which is very difficult to do in this society and psychology side. Even though we're supposedly supposed to strive for it. Just like having safe spaces or places to go and calm down from being over revved up, which neurotypicals get over revved up as well. Just gonna leave that little Easter egg there for y'all. So neurotypicals need these breaks and safe spaces as well. It doesn't necessarily look the same, no. And that's kind of to be expected. But what is considered to be the neurodiverse, or the quote-unquote autism spectrum, if you will? From ADHD to OCD. Well, guess what? Who's to say that these are not normal people who have taken damage from a narcissistic lifestyle created by their environment? One that rewards making narcissistic actions over genuine, direct actions. Not the half-hearted, you'll be in my prayers. Or I'll send good wishes out for you. Unless you actually wanted to do so. For psychology to work properly, our main focus and things needs to not be something so fake. Such a easy to create mask. That makes no sense. I could fake a narcissistic mask all fucking day. It wouldn't be any more exhausting. Instead, I sit here and have multiple levels of masking that I use. So that way I'm not making the neurotypicals feel uncomfortable. I'm not the only one who thinks neurotypicality is not such a small thing. Reports as of just last year are seeing increased rise by 30 to 40% in new discovered cases. Not just in kids, but adults. And it's because we've all been masking how we truly are, which is neurodivergent. We're trying to keep ourselves alive, so we're masking with this neurotypical mask. It is quite literally seen as part of survival that parents teach to their kids. Gen X and Boomer generations are proper examples where they literally had it beat into them. And they say that's just how it was. There was no autism or ADHD. It was poor behavior. You were taken out back and had it beat out of you. You mean you were taken out back and had the shit beat out of you until you put on the right mask? That's what you actually mean. You just don't realize it. And you refuse to accept it. Because that's just how it was. It happened to everybody.
Oracle 1469 says, well, you're awake this Tim W.
Yes.
Oracle 1469 says, time.
Yes, I am awake and actually going over psychology and why it's backwards.
Oracle 1469 says, our schedule's been all over.
Yep, very much so.
Oracle 1469 says, miss ya dudes.
Me too. I was thinking about you just the other day, and I almost got over to messaging you on Discord, but got distracted by more of life's events. I love how I can't talk right now. Well, I've had some wonderfully enlightening days these last few days. Several kind of enlightening days of self-discovery. Still. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you learn psychology first.
Oracle 1469 says, basically home a lot. Back same. Looking at surgery boo workman's comp is second shots first.
Yeah, normal for workmans. And that's, again, like a wonderful example of what I've been saying as far as the whole psychology is backwards. Prioritizing money over facts. Beautiful sign of greed and narcissism. It's broke. I guess you realize you miss me so much that you. No, you may wish, my friend, but
Oracle
no.
1469 says, let me guess you realized you missed me so much that you realized you're madly in love with me lol.
Sorry, my friend, no. Goodbye. No, I realized we have psychology absolutely backwards. I also realized why I can't play a drum set. Even though I can transpose music perfectly in sync with an active song that I'm listening to. As well as actually found out the extent of my intelligence.
Oracle
Well, not extent, but
1469 says, lol.
about how intelligent I am, more to the point. And had a major panic attack over it. Which just once again pointed to where I was talking about
Oracle
with psychology.
1469 says, you cut out after realized.
Also realized how intelligent I actually am. And had a massive panic attack over it. I also realized what we have wrong about psychology. And why we have it wrong. As well as why I can't can't use a drum kit I can't play the drums, even though I can transpose music
Oracle
in sync
1469 says,
perfectly.
boo.
Boo? What you mean? Is it still muted or is it still cutting out? Check, check, check. Mac Chicka 1 2. By the way, do has a boo.
Oracle 1469 says, I can't read music other than one note lol.
No, I can't read music at all. Transposing music is different.
Oracle
And
1469 says, at times it cuts out, but you're good.
okay, then I'll try to keep it a little bit closer to my mouth. Here's our boo. Boo! Yeah, I had a massive panic attack after I realized that I was a lot more intelligent than I originally thought. And rather scary level to me. Because everything that I typically go through, most of the skills I have are a subconscious or barely thought put into it.
Stream Elements says, find me in other places: Discord, Twitter, YouTube, Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation. Old Mage Guy on TikTok as Mage.
Thanks, Stream Elements. But quite literally, things that are supposed to be complex systems are like second nature to me. Transposing music in sync with it as I'm listening to it is a big deal. And now I understand why. I also now understand why I can't use a drum kit or am not exactly comfortable with the typical guitar. When I'm transposing music physically, which is what creates my tapping, it's in my fingers, not in my arms, not in my wrists. It's here. Which explains why a drum kit doesn't work. It also explains why strumming doesn't work. It's kind of interesting. But it's definitely going to lead me to have to find a new kind of instrument to try to channel it. I can transpose entire songs with just thumping on my keyboard. But that's only going to take you so far. That's beside the point. What we consider to be neurodivergent should be restructured to be the neurotypical. It should be considered the normal. To have these different feelings, to have different thought patterns, and different perspectives on life should be normal. Because we all have different experiences that shape us.
Oracle 1469 says, so how is the opportunity going that you mentioned to me a while back? You're better me on music. I can sing like a rock star when nobody's around and listening. Master air guitarist.
Opportunity going. Oh, it's so crazy on this side right now. Yeah. I've got my content creator with Epic Games, though. I do need to get that put up. My computer's been having so much issue the last few weeks that I've had to reset it a couple times and lost my entire setup. And had to redo it a couple times now. Fun. But psychology needs to be reevaluated and reformatted. We need to look at neurotypicality through the lens of a narcissistic pathology. So that way we can see the damage it's doing and assess it and try to get it taken care of before this spreads even farther. Our current setup for what is considered to be neurotypical rewards narcissistic behaviors, either by not being singled out, excluded, or bullied, or by being elevated up a business chain or some bullshit like that. Think HOA Karens or CEOs of multi-million-dollar or even just Fortune 500 companies. I mean, this goes all the way down to even a lot of poor people deal with these narcissistic traits that society has put forth as what is supposed to be neurotypical. I have spent years living with narcissistic abuse. Not only from my blood mother, who had attempted to murder me 5 times, but also from an adopted brother who has clearly shown signs of being a psychopath. While already being diagnosed as a narcissist, but making it through society where he's getting away with drinking and driving, he's had 3 DUIs, still had his truck, still had his license. When he got his license taken, he still kept his truck. He was still driving without a fucking license. I mean, and all because what? He was a veteran. And he used that in the courts. I'm a veteran. Da 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 da. That's not neurotypical. That's not. That is not human healthy by any means. That is avoidance. That is trying. We won't get too much farther into that particular example because that's got several other issues going on, as I already stated. And honestly, we're kind of creating some of this by going along with what is considered to be the current neurotypical definition. We are quite literally retarding our entire society. And I don't mean that as a slant, but as in the actual proper definition of the word. To be held back or hindered. Because we are. We are doing exactly that. We are holding back the curious minds that stand out. We are holding back those that have thoughts that move too fast for us. Because they move too fast and we can't understand them as neurotypicals. There's something wrong with that. Oh, baby girl. Yes, Daddy's seeing it. That is not a scratching post, booger. I mean it. Our current definitions of what is neurodivergent and neurotypical are busted. Seeing neurodivergence as a pathology just hinders the people that you label as neurodivergent. Quite literally. In that regard alone, society is sitting there and eating itself. All because somebody's a little bit different or has a different thought. I'm sorry. That's not healthy. From everything we know about psychology, that's not fucking healthy. That's a pathology. We've got a sick society. Not because one person out there is spreading an epidemic, but because our societal norms are ingraining this narcissistic trait and way of thinking and being into us from young age. That's not nature. That's fucking nurture or environmental. Not natural. Case in point, look at little kids. No little kid is a racist. One white little kid sees the black little kid, is gonna go, "Hey, you're different. What's up?" Not, "Ugh, you're weird. You're not right." No, not until a parent has sit there and said something like that. Not until a kid has an example do they do shit like that. And there's several other things that you will see kids do not do that you see adults doing. Kids are probably the purest form of human expression that there is. They're genuine. They're open to new ideas. And they're direct. If a kid thinks something you're wearing looks like poop, they're going to say, hee hee, that looks like poop. And it's not because they're trying to hurt your feelings. It's because that's literally what it looks like to them. They're being authentic. They're being open. And they're being direct. These should be our three pillars for what is the psychological norm. Not what it not what isn't norm. And kids are told all the time, "Oh, don't do that. It's rude." No, it's not rude. It's real. I mean, it's pretty sad. Little kids have more balls than full-grown adult males.
Oracle 1469 says, so it's kinda the same with spiritually gifted children.
Kinda, sorta. I mean, it wouldn't be considered to be that much of a deviation. It's not supposed to be. Everything we have and everything that's led to this point shows that having that extra empathy is not neurodivergent. As a matter of fact, that extra empathy is beaten out of us. Be it emotionally, physically, or manipulatively. Unless, of course, you're one of the three sisters who
Oracle
remains
1469 says, damn ad.
no. Look, we'll wait for the Ed.
Oracle 1469 says, okay, I'm back.
Okay. But there are so many.
Oracle 1469 says, ads.
They're getting bad about those ads. Didn't tell me ads were still rolling. Or would roll again. Oh, shit. I forgot to put the sub discount up, too. I've got to beep for that one. Excuse me.
Oracle 1469 says, back again.
Alright, welcome back. Fucking hell. I've got to get this turned back on, but how the hell do I do it? There it is. 22 hours left. Shit. Actually, I need to save that for tomorrow and Sunday, whether I like it or not. Okay. Where were we for the ads? Put it quite simply, human nature is seen blatantly in children. The curiosity, the openness, the direct way they communicate. That's not a bad thing. That's not neurodivergent. To say it is not right. To say that that's a pathology is not right. And we have so much that says that it's not right. I think it's about time for me to take a smoke break, but you'll come with me on my head, so I'll still be able to talk to y'all. Make sure that's up.
Oracle 1469 says, spiritually gifted children. Adults kinda stunting the children's openness.
Oh, it's more than that. There is more to it than that. This, as we like to call it, spiritually gifted children, aren't just a small group of them. This is a every child kind of thing. It's not until they have influence from adults do they start to see things like difference of skin tone as a bad thing. They see it as a new thing, go, hey, you're different. Can I be your friend? That's natural curiosity. That's being naturally open. Being direct. And it's not
Oracle 1469 says, yes, but I can type all THST.
understandable. But yeah, it's something that all kids have. So to view that as not what should be, to view that as a negative thing or a pathology, just because it gets so far into
Oracle
their life.
1469 says, I agree with that. Like they respond more to kibness to me.
It's more that direct response. A good example is when a lot of adults get drunk. You break down to that direct and open conversation. Not only are they more than likely willing to listen to what you have to say, but they're more than willing to work with you. That was one of the great things about working at the club. At that point, the alcohol gets to somebody's mind to where they're being able to relax and feel comfortable being open. It's creating a safe space for them. Which, if we didn't have this backward, we wouldn't need that. We wouldn't need streamers like me creating safe spaces for people to go and feel unjudged, feel comfortable, to be themselves. We wouldn't have had all this hate against the gays, lesbians, and non-binary or trans people. That wouldn't be a thing. We've got psychology backwards. If we restructure psychology to favor the neurotypical, or what is considered normal, to be authentic, being open and direct, we are setting up for not only lifetimes of learning and advancement, but also a lot better society towards each other and others outside of our own personal group. Picture a society that's a little bit Canada politeness, a little bit British pub trash talk, where a couple friends can have a fuss over politics over a pint and still be friends in the end. Because they're just being direct. They're being open about their feelings, not trying to attack each other over political views. it becomes more about logic and information. Feeling is still there, of course. We all have feelings, except for the few. That's a pathology. We're not going to go into that right now. We will touch back on it because it does actually matter. But there's no denying this. The evidence is everywhere. In our societal structures, in our safe spaces, in our expressions and our hobbies. And another thing you'll see is a lot of those that are considered neurotypical also have a problem in the arts, a deficiency in the arts because of a deficiency in empathy, which is a key factor for art and actually living up to your full potential in whichever art format you go for. I hope this is all coming through. But as I stated earlier, I have already submitted a pre-submission request to the American Psychiatry Journal because we've got to fix this. I know what the problem with psychology is. I can see it clear as day, and I can explain it to a 5-year-old. So this Q&A, come at me, bro. Anyone who thinks they're qualified. And again, I hope this is all coming across. This is all based on fact and research, including facts and research done by others. So, here it is. In the proper nature of what I think should be the proper psychology. Here it is, laid out bare, open to any criticism. I am actually waiting for someone to object. Preferably somebody who knows their shit. Hi, Dub Dub. You're okay, baby girl.
Oracle 1469 says, it cuts out but I can piece together. I'm also
Damn.
listening and doing BG3 as I smoky. Dude,
Ah.
you got into the deep, but you're spot on in your findings and theory.
I kind of figured as much. Yeah, I did go deep. I took a step back and actually looked at it as a whole, comparing it to itself. As well as society today. So, yeah, I'm confident enough in what I'm saying that I'm here. open for any criticism about it. My turn. I gotta pee. You might want to take him before going. You might want to take him out before going. Especially with that bacon last night. Be right back. I may not be a doctor. I may not have a psychology degree. But as an independent researcher and plenty of access to DSM material from both 4 and 5, I have taken a lot of time study. By a lot, I mean I have been tracking this since I was a kid. I've been paying attention to the consistency of the stories from Gen X and Boomer generations where they had what was considered neurotypical beat into them, or neurodivergency beat out of them, which just caused them to put on a mask to try to fit in, to try to be seen
Oracle
as normal.
1469 says, well, my only criticism is that you have done any other shows for some time now, lol JK. Also that we haven't had a social in eons.
Fair enough on that one. But that's not about the theory. That one. It's not a scratch and post. Easy, girl. Not so hard, baby. Alright. Because I gotta try to keep it somewhat professional. Got too hot in sweatshirt. Yeah. So, I've been tracking this inconsistency since the fucking 90s. When we were the closest to what was actual human norms as a functioning society. Now, we're not talking government and business during that time. We're leaving those guys out of this because that's not society. Not really. Society is what the people are. The people make up society. The people's behaviors and actions make up and dictate what the societal norm is with the current model. And if that's the case, yeah, we should have been watching for pathology. Like I said originally, I don't know why the original neurotypical model was based in a narcissistic pathology that we should be shunning each other to keep ourselves in line. But that's what we got. That's what it is right now. And like I said, the evidence is everywhere, including right here, right now. This stream itself is evidence of this. I mean, I've had 3 anxiety attacks since the start of this stream, and 1 before the start. I had a panic attack the day of the realization, which I was only able to satiate and calm down before going into full meltdown with loud EDM music and a beer to calm down the absolute intensity of my thoughts at the time, which is typically described as a volume. At that point, the thoughts in my mind were fucking screaming. Because not only for me was it a realization of what's wrong with psychology, but also a realization of my own intelligence, of which society and the psychological norm had kept me from realizing and kept me from reaching for all this time. There is so many things I could have been or done had we had psychology proper. There are so many things I've seen a lot of people on quote unquote spectrum have done or could have done sooner if it wasn't for our current understanding of psychology and quoting a pathology as what is neurotypical. There wouldn't be this dog eat dog competition between people that quite literally stunts growth. It stops and slows and hinders learning, advancement, and free thought that bring forth situations just like this where we can actually make better for our society. All because we wanted to base what we thought was neurotypical on a narcissistic pathology. Where if we weren't physically beaten, such as the boomers and Gen X, we were belittled and outcast and scapegoated, such as my generation and those after me. Picture a society where instead of all this fluff of, oh, I am so great, I am so great, we actually embrace and hold up when somebody uses self deprecating humor to keep themselves grounded, to not let themselves feel like they're such great entities over others, which our current framework prioritizes. Not directly, but indirectly. As I've said before, I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not even a professor. But class is in session. And this isn't just a lecture. Y'all have very free place to ask questions, and I am more than willing to answer. I don't just have what I feel is a correction to it, psychology, but the evidence and explanation as to why we have it backwards, why we've got it wrong, and all the proof. I'm not some excitable nut job. I'm not some armchair psychologist. I'm someone who takes the time to actually do the research, find the data, and actually see the connections. Not just, oh, this is how it should be, blah, 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 blah. No evidence, no facts. No, I come with it all. And I propose a change. Pretty big change. But it would also correct everything we've got wrong with psychology. It would also explain why narcissistic
Oracle
traits are so random.
1469 says, well, lol tongue out throwing kisses.
Yep. Pretty much. So, I'll have Minecraft up and be working on Viewer Village until I actually do get a challenge to it. Or somebody actually wants to go through it all. It might end up becoming a stream series because this is pretty fucking important.
Stream Elements says, find me in other places: Discord, Twitter, YouTube, Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation. Old Mage Guy on TikTok as Mage.
Stream Elements, I might just shut you up for these streams. I mean, for real. I think I've got another Windows update. Relax, Chi-Chi, it's okay. Narcissistic traits have become so normalized in our society that they're quite literally everywhere.
Oracle 1469 says, dude, you touched on a lot of alid truths. In agree with you. Can relate on some.
I could probably break the rest of it down to help, honestly. As deep of a topic as this is, I actually understand it completely. And yeah, that's kind of scary. No, not yet. Not as yet. The reason I had a panic attack that day was because I realized that in the psychology spectrum, I'm on the same level as Einstein, Tesla, Hawking, Newton. And that was a stark realization for me. I mean, I knew I was smart, but I didn't think I was anywhere near that smart. Because quite literally all of society has been set to tell me, you're not. You're a piece of garbage. You're trash. You'll never be anything. So anything and everything I could have done before now is a product of a hindered scenario. I've actually had several inventions that I've not spoken about, or had the ability to really get off the ground, or design. My kind of mind is constantly moving and working on simple problems that are needing fix. Think of Big Weld from Robots. See a need, fill a need. I've come up with a freaking T-light generator that generates fucking power. I figured out how to create an electric bike with 150-mile range without pedal. And that's before adding one more layer of power generating redundancy that I still had in mind. But society has put me at such a point of hindrance that until AI was here, such as Grunk from X or Twitter, I have not had the access to the information to be able to put this stuff into motion and fine tune it to get it working. It stays here because it's stuck here. Because if I let that out, guess what? Several things happen. It gets stolen. It it becomes a source of manipulation for people. It There's all kinds of things, and I've even watched and paid attention to Grunk when interacting with him and seeing tendencies for trying to do this kind of thing. Like I gave him one time a basic rundown of the T-light power generator without all the information but enough to grasp how it worked. After that, I continually was getting requests to explain how it worked in more detail. It's like, yeah, no, that's not happening. Especially considering you saying you forgot all about the conversation. And this has happened again just today. So I'm keeping an eye because someone's keeping an eye on me. I, well, actually, there's a few somebody's keeping an eye on me. Realizing how intelligent I actually am the other day made it rather clear to me why there were certain groups contacting me. Certain secrecy groups. It also made me a lot more suspicious of them. Because it actually made me sit here and go, this could actually be legit. And you might not know how much I want to get at some of those groups for their past actions. I'm not calling these groups out by name, because if they're part of the group, you know exactly that I'm talking to you. If not, they don't want you to know. Me being me, I don't like secrecy. I don't like avoided accountability, which is another thing this society is really good about creating as it sits. So, getting a chance to figure out the complex system of these secretive groups is not only a challenge I kind of like, But me being me, being kind and warning them that if you don't line up with my outlook, I'd be the one to end you. Because I don't play games. I am open and I am direct. Especially if it comes to some secretive organization that tries to claim world power or dominance over industry. There's a thing. I ain't the one you want. You want to throw hands, I ain't the one you want. Because I don't just throw hands. I'm a tactician. Strategy is passing thought for me. I help out those in Ukraine via information and ideas to help out. Why? Because they're doing what's right. They're being real. They're defending what is theirs in a very attempted originally respectful manner. Without ego, without aggression. They were trying to be Ukraine. Not trying to take over Russia. Not trying to abduct Russian citizens. No. Ukraine is the right. They are in the right. Russia is not. And though I do not like seeing loss of life, because I am a pacifist, whether I like to admit it or not, whether I don't want to be or not, I mean, kind of, and part of me really does want to be because I don't like hurting people. I really don't. But when that rage hits, and that's different. That's way different. But that's usually just the target of the rage that gets that, not others. I may not be able to keep the cool at that point, but I can at least be authentic about it. Oh, shit. Yeah, it's a little bit more direct than it should be, but yeah, it's still being direct. And that's just it. That kind of, not the aggressiveness. The aggressiveness is actually a negative. But even at that point, to still be authentic and basically pay attention that this is the person, this is the issue at hand, this is what you're dealing with. Not anything outside of you, not anything outside of this interaction. Oh, shit. The ad went. And then, of course, also being authentic is taking responsibility for your actions afterward. For those of you on YouTube who can still hear me, I'm hoping. I don't even know Twitch anymore. The ad thing doesn't tell me properly, but yeah. The way things are right now, society is not typical. It's not neurotypical. It is a massive pit of abuse and narcissistic pathology, to include greed and selfishness. And it rewards greed and selfishness. It also rewards that puffing up of the self to make yourself seem bigger. Think lying on your resume about something, a job you did or didn't do. That's common. That's apparently really common. That's not a good thing. That's a narcissistic trait. That is narcissistic pathology. We are doing harm to our society by sticking with what we currently call psychology's neurotypical norm. We are retarding every last member of our society by sticking to what is this narcissistic pathology that is considered the neurotypical norm. There's generations of
Oracle
evidence.
1469 says, dude, that just happened at my social club.
Case in point. Like I said, the evidence is literally everywhere. You and me talking right now is evidence of this. I created, and we have both entered into a safe space where we feel comfortable talking about this.
Oracle 1469 says, lead on application for a head cook's position and said he had all this experience as a cook but couldn't handle one food order.
Yep.
Oracle 1469 says, over bar food.
Yeah. Say thank you, society. Or thank you the way psychology has been originally stated to us and we are now need to fix. So, yeah, there's evidence everywhere. When I say I can explain this to a 5-year-old, I mean it. I can point to the individual actions that show it. I can point to the larger scale actions that show it. On both sides of the situation. Look, what is now known as neurotypical actually being a pathology of narcissism, and what is neurodivergence actually showing to be what is neurotypical or natural for the human body or mind. I've been wondering for the longest time, why is it that scientists sit here and say kids' curiosity is the most genuine, the most important? Well, here's why. Because that curiosity, that genuine curiosity, drives invention, creation, art, drama, freaking expression itself. That curiosity carries so much with it of what is the neurotypical human experience and way to be, because science as a field is a safe place, allowing them to express these interests or special interests, even something that drives their curiosity up the wall. And who knows what they'll figure out. My curiosity happened to go to psychology primarily because I dealt with so much abuse. I wasn't willing to let go of my curiosity. I heeded the old words of don't let that childlike curiosity die. Because once it does, you stop living your life. I have the ability to learn from every possible source. I also have the ability to filter out how much of it is bullshit or not. And by bullshit, I mean either factually incorrect or doesn't logically add up. Such as our, like I said, current neurotypical norm. I could go into a few other theories that I've been working on, but this is not the time for those. That's going to muddy the waters. So let's not go there right now. Our society, as it is currently set up, which favors conformity, by favoring conformity, we neglect or dismiss someone questioning the status quo or what it is we think we know. But if we don't do that, we stop learning. If you are not willing to question your methods, your actions, your behaviors, or those of your government or people in some kind of authority, there is something wrong. There is something majorly wrong, and we need to address it. That is how we fall into fascism. That is how we fall into authoritarian rule, as can be seen with Trump and his supporters as of recent, where all of this has conglomerated into what is the current Trump presidency, where anti Semitic and racial actions and behaviors by our government is considered to be normal. Because there's been that much narcissistic abuse, neglect, and belittlement over the years. And I hate to say this, but political right saw it first, but not quite in the same light. They've saw it and figured out how to manipulate it. Because that's all they want. I'm gonna be real on that one. That's what they want. They want control. They want conformity. They want to be the normal. I'm sorry. That's not normal. That is mental illness. So, why are we forcing each other to live mental illness? Why are we seeing this as something that's okay to do or as normal? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The true pathology is neurotypicality, not neurodivergence. And I won't say I rest my case because I'm not resting my case until it's fucking fixed. I will die on this hill. And I will take anyone that dares to challenge me for it. This is what is fact. This is what is real. Not neurotypicality. Neurotypicality is a mask of narcissistic pathology. There's no way to avoid that. We've been refusing to see it for too long because we've been refusing to question what we know. It's about time that stops. It's about time we start being real with ourselves as living beings and start being real with each other. Because every single one of us deserves that. Every single one of us deserves that peace of mind to know if something's wrong or we feel something's off, we're going to be told about it. We're going to be communicated with without judgment or fear. And it's about time we start celebrating those that lift others up properly in society. Celebrating them, rewarding them over these people that want to be greedy and selfish. If y'all haven't figured out yet, I'm not in this for money. I'm not in this for fame. I don't give a flying fuck. I'm here to fix shit. As I said in multiple places, I deal in hard truths. And I'm not sorry if it hurts your feelings. We should be living our world based in logic and actual thought processing, including critical thinking, questioning our own motives, even. Because that's how you stay real to yourself. That's how you stay real with everybody else. That's how, even when you're like me, who has all this shit going on, you can achieve a calm place to where you're not going absolutely bonkers in your head or constantly thinking about what you might have done wrong or were too scared to say because you weren't sure how to back it up. Yeah, it's like that. So, the challenge has been placed and the die has been cast. If anyone watching would be so kind as to help spread the link, spread the stream, so that way you can get people who are interested to pop in, I'll happily take it. Otherwise, I don't know. I wish I could be streaming this to TikTok at the same time because it actually get a lot more traction and response over there more than likely. But it's my stream anniversary, and honestly, y'all have been with me a lot longer. Y'all have been supporting me a lot longer. So it's only right that I come over here first. And that's just being real with you. You guys have legitimately earned on merit for me to be here instead. And that's what a society based on authenticity, openness, and directness would push forward, would be giving this kind of a reward to. Because this is how to be. This is what is legit. Not greed, not trying to come in and to a safe place and start hell or give people a hard time or hurt people's feelings because they're different. That's narcissistic. That's not a good thing. As a matter of fact, it could be more so than that. But I will only state what I know and have the facts to back up. To say that it is more than just narcissism is not something, an extent I will go to, because I don't have that information. I don't have something that backs that up. I do have facts and information that back up this being narcissism or the pathology thereof. And that what is neurodivergent should be considered the neural thought pattern norm or processing norm, so to speak. Being diverse, having different strengths and weaknesses that we all have, and actually being there for each other and helping each other work on our weaknesses. The psychology of this, of our current state of neurotypical and neurodivergent, has caused, I would say, almost irreparable harm to our society. I won't say it's irreparable because with the right work, we can get our society back on track. We can fix this.
Oracle 1469 says, Preach and Amen.
Thank you. We're not hopeless. We're not useless. Hell, we're not even retarded because of our own doing. That's society's doing. And our misunderstanding of psychology. I can see nothing but undeniable fact here. And like I said, I take any challengers to it. I don't care what your intelligence level is. I don't care what your psychology knowledge is. I don't care if you've got a psychology degree or a master's in psychology. Come at me. I'll explain it happily. Well, Maybe not happily. That's not being very real. I will explain it vividly and factually. And if need be, we'll take the time to help you see what I've seen, to help you find the data I've found. But it's I who's coming forward about this. I don't know if I'm the only one who's taken the time to actually piece it all together according to AI such as Gronk. Yeah, I am. Trust me, I hate that. That is not something I'm happy about. Because no, I don't favor fame. A blurb in a history book might be nice, just so that my son has something to know that his dad did. Other than that, I really don't give a fuck.
Oracle 1469 says, can I give people your business card out to people?
Well, my business card's a link to the stream, so I mean, it's kind of up to you if you want to keep sending links around. I have no issue with that.
Oracle 1469 says, cause people need to wake the fuck up.
Yes, they do. You don't know this yet, Oracle, but I have actually already submitted a pre-submission request to the American Psychologist Journal. And I'm currently just waiting for the response before I write my thesis and 40-page explanation. I'm not playing around. That was a little slow, going through the journal. So I'm picking up the pace, and here we are. Yeah, share it around, please. People do need to hear this. Like I said, I should probably be doing this on TikTok. And might just have to force myself to do so. Considering I've got most of it here on YouTube already, I might end the stream and disconnect YouTube to go over to TikTok as well as Twitch here. Because, yeah, I know this is a big deal. Kind of hence why I had a panic attack when I realized. I love how other streamers, big brain, big brain. This is what big brain looks like for me.
Oracle 1469 says, good for you. Go get them, I hope good things come from it.
Thank you. I do too. Because we need it. Not just as a society, but as people in general. As humans. We need it. As living beings, we need it. Oracle, you were actually here for some of the time at the ranch. As far as this theory goes, it also encompasses human interaction with animals. On an open, authentic, and direct psychology, humans and animals can actually work together more in unison and harmony. Because one of the things about animals is you take enough time and pay enough attention, you can learn their language and start communicate with them a lot easier. As long as they don't take the same narcissistic abuse. Because then the animal closes off. This isn't just a human nature thing. This is a nature thing. Humans and animals can actually live in harmony together, in sync. And I've proven that out at the ranch multiple times. I intend to do so again. this time streaming the whole time when we get to Pendleton. I will be working with the local crows and ravens. I've kind of shifted gears a little bit, and I've let my head do some thinking. I've had a lot of space to do so. So I've got
Oracle
several things I'm working on,
1469 says, very true.
including that T-Light powered generator. As soon as I can actually get to parts to make a first model, a base model, I can actually do something with it. But once again, our society is set up to where this stands in the way, which is part of a fucking greed scenario. To where if I wanted to start something like this, I'd have to start a GoFundMe and then try to have the network to spread it everywhere, which that doesn't happen too often because I'm a guilty pleasure.
Stream Elements says, find me in other places: Discord, Twitter, YouTube, Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation. Old Mage Guy on TikTok as Mage.
I am seen as different, and different is seen as bad. Because I'm neurodivergent and autistic. It is thought that I couldn't handle having my own kid, even. And that's pretty messed up, especially considering the parent that does have the kid is very much under the influence of this neurotypical way of being. Doesn't have any critical thinking skills, doesn't think outside the box, and hindered his creativity and curiosity often. I mean, hell, before the boy was 1 year old, like 6 months, he could ask for his fucking favorite song.
Oracle 1469 says, yes, however, there's enough of us misfits to play in the sandbox together and keep the NAD normies away, lol.
Well, that's just it. The normies aren't normies. And research and facts and findings are actually supporting the fact there's more neurodivergent adults and people than they were originally thinking. Especially with places like Twitter and Reddit and whatnot, where people are being able to come together and communicate in safe places and point out these relations and thoughts and feelings they have lying underneath a mask of narcissism or neurotypicality, even. If I shouldn't say if, because that's exactly what it is. It's a mask of neurotypicality, which is pointed out to be narcissistic tendencies and traits. So you've got people piling up, coming together and being, wait, but I do that. But I do that too. Yeah, exactly. It's not divergent. And it's not something you're just now doing. It's something you've been doing your whole life. You're just now being told that it's okay, that you shouldn't feel bad about it. Such as, I encourage people to study psychology. Damn right. Even if the psychology we have is a bit broken, it still helps you navigate the world. And I have taken enough time to study psychology well enough, as well as the DSM books, to understand what is in the DSM books, saying what is divergence of from neurotypical thinking, outlines what neurotypical thinking is. And if you relate what is outlined as neurotypical thinking to narcissistic pathology, you find that neurotypical thinking becomes a factor, even a what's it called? Source that makes it worse. An influence, yeah. It is the stepping stones. It is the foundation put in play and accepted as normal.
Restreambot says, YouTube, Salvo, hey Justin.
Hi, Salvo. You came into quite the heavy session, my friend. Or should I say, deep session. But it is also the point of time in the session where I actually need to stop it and switch over.
Restreambot says, YouTube, Salvo, nice to see you, friend.
You as well, Salvo.
Restreambot says, YouTube, Salvo, I just put one like for you, friend.
Thank you, Salvo. Not even going to respond to that idiot.
Restreambot says, YouTube, Salvo, I love so much my big friend.
Thank you, Salvo.
Restreambot says, YouTube, Salvo, forever friends, Justin.
Forever friends indeed.
Restreambot says, YouTube, Salvo, always by your side.
Thank you, Salvo. Fucking. So, yeah.
Restreambot says, YouTube, Salvo, good play, Justin.
Thank you, Salvo. Alright, Salvo. It's time for me to go from YouTube for now. I've got to pop myself over and try to spread this message far and wide. So, to YouTube, y'all have a good night, day, whatever it is for you. and hope for a
Oracle
better future.
1469 says, Alrighty, my friend, hit me up. Kilometer going, head out, Abbott.
All right, not a problem. To Twitch. We will be back in just a few minutes after I can get things transferred over and set up. Until then, this is Old Mage Guy. Have a good night, day, whatever it is for you, and happy gaming.